Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vero, and in today's video I'm doing a flip through of my latest bullet journal, this A4 Archer&Olive dot grid journal. Okay, this is the A4 Archer&Olive journal that came in the second subscription box that they released. It is beautiful. It has the two ribbons, it has the cover, it has a pen loop on the side, an elastic band, and a pocket at the back. So all of those basic things. So let's get started with this flip through. When you open the journal up, you have This Book Belongs To. I put my name there with my VeroBujo, and we're just going to flip through all of the spreads. I'm just going to talk you through a couple of them. My first spread is my 2022 cover page. This is still one of my favorite things. I love how the flowers turned out. I thought it was a little bit overwhelming at first when I first did it, but now I see it, I'm just so in love. We then have my grid spacing cheat sheet along with my overview. I'll be honest, I don't really use my grid spacing cheat sheet after a while. Like, I end up knowing how many spaces I need, so this is good at the beginning, but then afterwards it's like, don't really need it. We have my overview, and I use this to plan out my months so that I know how many days I need to plan for and what the week numbers are. I love how this turned out. I reckon this is still a little bit blank, like I could have put some more flowers there, but I'm obviously not going to touch it now because, you know, it's over. We have my future log, including the important days of the week with the first little Dutch door I have here, and I have the first 6 months on this side and the second 6 months on this side, including some movies and series that I wanted to watch that I knew were coming out this year, and my goals over here, which, as you can see, I've only managed to do 4 of these by the time we are in August, so that's a little bit embarrassing. Next we have my finance tracker, and I fill this out religiously at the end of each month. I'm not going to go into too much details, but just if you want to have a look, I just detail everything by expenses, income, and savings, and that's pretty much it. We also have my mood board. I'll be honest, I read this once at the beginning of the year and I've never read it again. These are all the things that I want to happen in 2022. So I'm doing pretty well. For example, I am swimming every single day. I do my bullet journaling and I'm painting a lot. Diving is going to happen very soon. I'm going for a 2-week holiday where I'm going to be diving, and I'm also going in December. Yoga, more or less, not quite there. We have dolphins, the ocean. Basically anything to do with the ocean is what I dream of. I love doing my nails. I do my nails all the time. Still doing that. Not done today. This was my cat in Lisbon, and I still miss and love her, but yeah, I haven't gotten a cat yet. Then I wanted to read a lot, stay in touch with my friends. I wanted to find a job, which I did. I obviously didn't find a desk job. I work at an eye clinic, so it's a bit different. And then just improve my sense of fashion, which I think I'm not doing too bad. And then we have my mood pixels over here, so you can track every single day of the year how I was feeling, and it ranged between ecstatic and angry, and you can see that most of my year has been happy, so I'm very pleased with this outcome. Over here we have my reading list and my reading log, and on this side I just wrote down the books that I was interested in reading. I think in hindsight I should have turned this into the books that I ended up reading, not the books that I wanted to read, because now I just don't fill it out. On the side we just have all of the books that I have been reading. As you can see, some months were a little bit bare, some months I read quite a bit, and it just kind of alternates between that. My goal by the end of the year was to have read 50 books, and I think I'm on the right track. Now we move on to my first month of the year. Now, I did not do a plan with me for January. I was very sad that I didn't get to do it. I just didn't have the setup when I got back to Australia yet, so it just didn't happen. But I did do a few things on Instagram Reels, and as you can see, this is my cover page. It is my favorite thing. I think I could definitely do better, and I think one day in the future I will try and do it again, but I love how the monstera leaves just pop out from the page from the dark background. I love the January calligraphy down here, and I love all of the little leaves on the side. This monthly log is the same kind of monthly log that I'm using in my September spread, so I've gone back to it. I'm still not convinced that I really love it, but it works some days, so I'll keep it anyway. This was my habit tracker page. Now, I liked to do all of my habits, so the habits that I was tracking were flossing, making my bed, and other things here. As you can see, some of these habits were done, some of them were not. Then I also had my phone and steps tracker, so I just tracked every time that I was on my phone. I spent a lot of hours on my phone in January. I was on holidays, is what I guess I could say. And then I also tracked my Instagram growth, and that's crazy. So apparently from the 1st of January, I went from 1,000 3,650 to 3,945 in the short space of 1 month. That really blew up on Instagram. It's never happened to me before, so it was really exciting. We then have my 1 line a day, my finances. I had just moved back, so I was not really spending any money because I was broke. We then have my first weekly spreads. Now this was a rolling weekly. Again, I don't know if you can tell, but look at these tabs. Look at this. This is amazing. I am obsessed with these. The tabs are monstera leaves that just poke out from the side. This is my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And because this page was so much bigger, I got to fit in way more days than I usually do. So that was really exciting. I also have notes and my to-do list and reels that I wanted to do. This was my second one, so these were my also to-do list. I started doing my review page as well, things that I was obsessing over. You can look at that. Then we move on to my theme from February. This was one of my favorite themes. I am obsessed with how it turned out. I love all the gold details, which you can see glinting in the sunlight over here. The font, I love it. My mum doesn't like this font, but I'm a big fan, so. We also have my habits page, and again with this beautiful tiger. This is honestly hands down one of my favorite kind of illustrations here. Look at that gold circle and the gold glinting there with the tiger on the front. It's amazing. Not to toot my own horn, you know. We then have my 1 line a day as well as my gratitude log. Again, the same font with the tigers and that kind of yin and yang vibe that you have in Chinese culture. So I really like how this turned out. We then have my to-do lists as well as my rolling weeklies. I still kept that with a little tiger over here. My next weeklies were planned weeklies, and these ones have this beautiful tiger and Mulan because they were two very symbolic representations of the Chinese New Year, because this year is the year of the tiger. I started working, so I just had my shifts at the top over here, and I kept that spread for a couple of months. We then have my week 8 as well as my review page, and look at these tiger's eyes. I think these turned out so stunning and I am obsessed. I also have my review page that I've been breaking down into specific things so that you can understand. I've covered these in multiple videos, so you can go watch any of those to find out more. We move on to my March theme, and this one was for my Laps for Life campaign. I swam just over 25 kilometers over the course of 1 month and raised just about $500 for youth mental health in Australia. And this is just a quote from the website saying that 1 in 4 young people is living with a mental health challenge in Australia, and suicide is the leading cause of death for young Australians. And I just wanted to raise awareness for that and support young Australians. This print as well, I am obsessed with how the water turned out on this one. You can actually buy this as a print on my Etsy store. The link is down in the description. The next one is my monthly log. Now, I think March is my favorite month this year, and it's also because I turned 24 in March. March is my birth month, so of course it's going to be my favorite month. I had a tracker for a couple of habits. I had the money I was trying to raise. Originally, I was going for $400, and I ended up getting to $500, which is very, very exciting. I had my phone and steps tracker down here, as well as my header, which you can also buy as a bookmark yet again on my Etsy store. We have my gratitude log and my finance tracker. I think that the way I wrote gratitude and finances is really nice calligraphy. Then we move on to my weekly spreads, and here you can see that I used these fun Dutch doors with some washi tape as the tabs. And again, this is a bookmark you can find on my Etsy store. I had my to-do list, my goals from home, my work, my notes, and then just a bunch of different spreads laid out like this for March. As you can see, I didn't end up doing anything in week 13. I clearly didn't need my bullet journal in that week. I then have my overview for the month of March, which I can see that I didn't really finish filling it out. And my last print for March, which is my dolphin print, which again, Etsy. Shameless self-promotion. Next is my April theme, and this was my yellow theme, and yellow is my favorite color. Although I've got to be honest, I think blue is starting to become my favorite color at the moment because it's just such a pretty color. But yellow is normally my favorite color, and I painted this. These ones you can't get on Etsy because they're not actually really good quality, and I would have to do a lot of editing to figure out how to get rid of that, so not selling these ones. And then you have my monthly log with this yellow painting of a telephone. I love how this turned out, by the way. We have some tabs down the side, all in different yellows. with my habits and gratitude log. I love these paintings over here. We have a clock, an Instax Mini, a cassette tape, and a gramophone, and a little telephone over here. My habits. Unfortunately, the yellow is kind of hard to see, so I didn't end up using that all that much. And I have my gratitude log and my some lines a day, which evidently I kind of stopped using because in April I got a new journal, which is a memories journal where I started writing my 1 lines a day. So I'm not doing that anymore in my journal. Then we have my finance tracker along with my to-do lists again, which I didn't end up using very much. We also have my weekly spreads. Now this layout I found from an Instagrammer, Bulletproof Journals on Instagram and on YouTube. I love the idea of this and I did keep it for a couple of months. However, I have stopped using it since because it doesn't actually work for me all the time. But anyway, I love how these roses turned out. I think the brown background should have been black, but I didn't do that. We then have the review page yet again with some tulips. I love these tulips. I copied them from the tulips that were sitting on my desk back in March for my birthday, so this is really nice. Then we get to my May theme, and my May theme was a little bit different for me. I did some florals, which I've done before, but I actually started sticking in some pages from an old book, and I did chapter 5 because May 5th month of the year. We then have this little calendar. I love this particular calendar style where it's 4x4 squares for each of the boxes of the month, and I have some habits here where I color them in little circles down below. We then have my gratitude log and my finances. Now I stopped using my finances that month because I changed bank accounts and they have a really good cataloging system, so I've actually just left it on my phone now and I don't do it on my journal. For my gratitude log, I kept that though. Even though I am writing in my some lines a day or memories journal, I want to keep track of the things that I'm grateful for. The quote that I have for this month is "Seek to understand before you seek to be understood," and I think that's really nice. Here is my habits spread, and now this one was really helpful for me at the beginning of May because I wanted to improve my habits, and the idea here was that I was tracking the habits and trying to improve my morning and evening routines. So for example, the red ones are bad habits that I wanted to stop, the green ones were good habits that I wanted to start, and the purple ones were habits that I already did. So this is kind of the idea that I was going for. I need to put this into a new journal now that I'm about to start one so that I can continue with this process because I really like it and it's very, very helpful. As you can see, I started color coding everything, but there's not a lot of color code because it's just VeroBujo general, so that doesn't really help me. I love how this one's turned out. You can see that I changed the style of these just a little bit, along with my habits down below. May was a month where I kind of stagnated a little bit, so it was a bit difficult to get going sometimes, but it was okay, and I think I really like how everything turned out. We then move on to my June spreads. Now, I love how these turned out. It's minimal, it's pretty, and I love the leaves. I love the pens that I used to do these. It's just so fun, and I really, really love it. One thing that I will say though, which I mentioned in one of my Instagram posts recently, as well as the video itself, is that these kind of look like poops. Anyway. We have my gratitude log. As you can see, I stopped doing the finance tracker, as I mentioned. I was going to do some planning for my Instagram posts, but as you can see, it's totally blank, so I didn't end up doing it. I also didn't set myself any goals for the month of June, so yeah. We then have my quote page for the month of June, and it says, "Growing into yourself will sometimes look like outgrowing others," and I thought that I really resonated with that month. As you can see, I continued with the same kind of weekly spreads with my habit trackers down below. And because I started doing the same habits over and over again, I stopped doing the little habit trackers down here. You can see that I didn't even use this weekly spread because I ditched all of my habits in my bullet journal because I got COVID. So I just left everything behind. Here I kind of stopped using it for a little bit. It was just, I felt like I was getting a bit repetitive and I was stagnating a little bit. So that's why we get to July. And in July, I have decided to change things up again. In July, I went for this beautiful shark theme. I am obsessed with sharks. I draw sharks and whales on my iPad all the time, and I wanted to incorporate the theme into my bullet journal, which is why I did that for July. I did a really nice calligraphy J over here for July, 2 little sharks that kind of have the shape of a love heart, which I think is very cute. I kind of repeated the same monthly log that I had back in March as well, with a whale on the side and monthly log on the top. Here you can also see that I used these little Dutch doors again with some fun tabs on the top. I have some habit trackers down here, and as you can see I didn't really stick to any of the habits during July, except for no screen when I was flossing, and I am flossing regularly now, which is good. We then have this gratitude log, which I apparently didn't end up filling either. Hammerhead shark over here. I thought I had changed this, but apparently I didn't. So the only thing I changed was the layout. This is my favorite thing. This right here, these little sharks here with a little coral, literally my favorite thing. I am so obsessed. I cannot get over it, and I love how it turned out. And I loved it so much, in fact, that these corals are the ones that I'm using for my new bullet journal for my whole theme. We then get to the week 29 and week 30. I stopped using these pretty much entirely. I was using just these little kind of to-do lists on the side, and I also did this beautiful whale shark over here, and it is so pretty. I really love how it turned out. Lastly, my review page, along with some little manta rays down below and a quote that says, "Stay wild, ocean child." Lastly, my most popular theme on Instagram, but also my least favorite theme that I had done on YouTube, is my August theme. I don't know how this blew up on Instagram, but it did, and so I'm really, really happy for it. I love the little blue flowers that are like here. I like how it fills the page and it goes over these little Dutch doors here, kind of blending the Dutch doors together. But then when you lift your hand off the page, you can see that there are Dutch doors. There are tabs. So each little tab has a little separate area, and I have my monthly log on this one over here. I have my habits and my memories page. Now in the memories page, I really like this, by the way. I'm just going to draw little diagrams and write little things into the boxes to fill it out with my memories. And the habits, well, I'm supposed to do habits, but I've decided that I'm just going to ditch them for August because I am going away for a bit, so I don't think I'll be tracking many habits then. We then have my first 2 weeks of August, which is week 1 and week 2. And I'm just kind of filling them in like a rolling weekly. I have left myself 3 entire pages to fill out any weekly spreads, but as you can see, it's already approaching week 2 of August, and I have not really filled it out all that much. This month I'm so busy, I just don't have time to sit down in front of my bullet journal and plan things out. I've been planning digitally on my computer as well as using my Sunlines a Day journal, so that's kind of why I'm not using this one at the moment and as much. I'd just like to change things up a little bit, get a little bit more creative on some days so that I'm not stagnating too much, as I said that I was stagnating earlier. So that's why I haven't been using it. We then have my nice review page, finishing off with these beautiful flowers again on the side, and then when you close it, all the flowers are on the front. Here is the end of the journal. I have just a couple of pages which I didn't end up using, and at the very back of my journal I have 2 trackers, my Instagram tracker and my YouTube tracker. This one is to track until I get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and this one is just to track in general how many followers I'm getting, I guess you could say. And that's the journal. It has been a very fun and interesting journey using this size of journal, and if you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on using this size journal, you can watch this video next.